Good evening everyone, and welcome to the Ageas Bowl, and this is the second innings in this 20 over match between Hampshire and Gloucestershire in the Southern League of the 20 over competition this season. Hampshire presently second, and in fact Gloucestershire are second bottom, Hampshire in fact are top. And Hampshire have scored 180 runs in their 20 overs, and they've set target of 181 for Gloucestershire to win. And the first over is about to be bowled, and it's going to be bowled by Smith, the off spinner for Hampshire, and he's going to be bowling to the bat opening pairs of Klinger and Gidman, and that's played away on the leg side. They're going to take just a single, and it gets Gidman off the mark, and this is Alex Gidman, I think, and it's the captain, Michael Klinger, who's at the other end. So the sun just setting, as in again comes Smith and bowls well pitched up, and Klinger plays that away on the leg side. They go through for a single to mid-wicket, and that's one run off the first two balls. Hampshire are restricted by the rules of the competition with regard to fielding position. If Smith bowls a faster ball, and that's pulled, it's short of a length, and it's going to reach the boundary just behind square on the leg side. So a good start now for Gloucestershire in this first innings. They're up to 6, and Smith getting through his over quickly, joined the side from Durham during the winter as a batsman, and really hasn't been used a great deal as a bowler in his previous career, but this season he's been quite economical in this form of cricket. Now Hampshire are playing with their field positions insofar as they can. If they want to put one man out, and they're putting Carberry out on the square leg boundary, they're bringing in the man at long on. As in comes Smith again, and this is pulled fine, and that's a good shot, and Smith is not exactly on top of the running at the moment, and Wheater, who's keeping wicket today, has to move across to field that. In comes Smith again. This one's pulled a shorter ball, goes down to the man at mid-on, diving stop, and that's 9 for no wicket. I'm joined by Steve Coombs, who's here as our technical advisor stroke computers, and Simon Vincent, who's our technical expert in this new system that we're using, which is called Hangout, Google Plus Hangout, and this is played to square leg, and they go through for a single. So at the end, are we at the first over? We've got one over still to bowl because of the wide. Klinger is on 2, and Gidman is on 7. And Smith in a slightly different yellow from the yellow which the batsmen are in. Rather redder yellow. This is played out to mid-wicket quite comfortably by Gidman, takes him up to 8, it's a single, and at the end of the first over, 11-12 for no wicket. It's a good start, Simon, for the Gloucester side.
It is a good start, it's a very good start. Obviously they need to be they need to be going at a fair roll rate to try and reach 180, and that's a good start for them. It's interesting that you pick out about the yellow. I remember a couple of seasons ago Hampshire making a very specific effort to go for the yellow kit as opposed to the perhaps more traditional blue kit that they were in, specifically because everybody kept playing in blue. And of course here they are tonight playing a team that look like they're dressed in exactly the same outfit as them almost.
Yeah, it's difficult to find sufficient colours because clearly the idea is that these shirts would be bought as leisure shirts, so they can't really go for purple and orange squares or something. Anyhow, we're going to see, it looks like it's Chris Wood, is it now, from the pavilion end, left arm seamer, coming in past the umpire bowls. It's driven into the offside, straight to the fielder by Gidman, and there's no run. Hampshire now have got a third man and a square leg as the 2 boundary fielders. They've got 4 men on the offside for the single, and 3 men on the leg side. So it's a defensive field as you would expect in this competition of just 20 overs. As Wood in again. This one's pulled, there's a gap there, an easy 4. a short ball, and Gidman just leant back and knew where the gap was, middled it, and the outfield's quite fast today. Earlier this week it was a slow outfield for the Essex match, but that has got and confirmed a good start for Gloucester, who are second from bottom in this league. Wood again comes in, plays just limited overs cricket for Hampshire, better ball, and they tried to take a quick single, but Gidman, who had only hit it down into the ground, hadn't given enough scope as Kick's recover came racing into field, so it's a dot ball. Fine evening here, quite warm, pretty cloudless sky, and a watery sun still, because I think there's some cloud in the far western horizon. As in comes Wood again, and this one's played with an angled bat, looking to play it down to third man, goes into the covers, and they are unable to take a run. So Wood, who began this over rather indifferently, is now looking a little bit more up for it. Hampshire very strong in their batting at the moment, but probably could do with another powerful bowler, an all-rounder ideally. So Wood again moves away from us, comes in, and this is pulled on the leg side. It's going to wide of the man at square leg, and makes a good attempt to try to stop it, but it was well hit off the middle of the bat, just behind square, and it doesn't take too much to cause an over that's looking good suddenly to look not quite so positive from Hampshire's point of view. So that's 8 runs off the over, and 20 for no wicket, chasing a target of 181 to win. In again comes Wood, and this is played out to cover point. There's no run. So as far as Wood's concerned, a mixture. A couple of balls that weren't good were pulled away very, very easily for 4 runs, but the other ones tied the batsman down a little bit. So after 2 overs, Gloucester, in reply to 181, are 20 for no wicket, Simon.
Great to see Chris Wood back in the action, isn't it? I mean, I know he missed a large part of the early part of the season, and all right, it's arguable as to whether he played or not with Kyle Abbott in the side, and obviously Matt Cole's a couple of new guys since the tail end of last season. So arguable as to whether he'd have played or not anyway. But great to see him back in the side, and of course, this is the format where he's been a match winner for Hampshire before.
Yes, he has. For a young man, he specialised very early, perhaps not deliberately, but he's been much more successful in the limited overs game than in the full game. Anyhow, that is the end of that over, and the first ball of this over goes on the leg side, well pitched up, and Klinger just leant forward and flicked it with his wrist on the ground down to the square leg boundary, where it's possibly Carberry down there, I think. There's a window stanchion in my way, but it is Carberry, and so it's 21 now for no wicket. Floodlights have been on for some time, but their effect is beginning to take over. As in again comes Kyle Abbott. This is Edge. I don't know that he did that deliberately, but he's got 4 runs. The man at third man was a little bit wide, and there's no slip, of course, in this form of cricket. So the start by Gloucestershire is very confident, Simon, and they're looking at this stage as if they're going to make Hampshire work very hard.
Absolutely. I mean, 9 and over was the rate at the beginning of the innings, and they're going way past that at the moment. 25 without loss in the third over. They're going phenomenally well.
A couple of wickets now. Kyle Abbott, the South African, bowled well this season, particularly in the first class game. This one is pulled away on the leg side. Carberry's out there and Fields. They go through for a single, and 3 pigeons, I think, are rather late going to bed and flutter across from the eastern side. They look as if they were going west, and at the last minute decided to fly towards us. I think, Simon, that some of them actually live above our heads.
I think you're right.
Because if you walk along the surface outside, as one does to put out the outside effects mic, you can see the evidence as in comes Abbott again. That's played defensively down to short mid-off. They could have got a run. They weren't to know that Adams would miss it, but there's no run there. If Abbott can't put a break on the scoring rate, then Hampshire may need to turn to Danny Briggs a little bit earlier than they'd hoped, because Briggs is back in the side, having been off for both pre-paternity and post-paternity leave, an unusual combination, which I think exceeds the normal limit that would be allowed. But he's back now, and in comes Abbott again. And this is a good ball. It leaves the batsman, and Klinger was pushing to get hold of that, didn't make a touch, and Wheater standing back took it comfortably, could easily have been an edge. So 26, but 21 of these have been scored by Gidman, and only 3 by the captain, Klinger.
It'd be interesting to have a live scorecard in front of us to see just how many balls Gidman's faced as opposed to Klinger.
True, yeah, we would normally be able to have that, but this is driven off the back foot, not well timed. It goes down to mid-off, throw at the stumps, well backed up by Irvine, and they get just a single, and he's now 27 for no wicket. End of the over, 3 overs down.
I mean, certainly I'm looking at the shots that Gidman scored off now, and we've got a 6 and we've got 3 4s so far, so he is scoring at a good rate. He may well be facing a similar sort of number of balls as Klinger, but he's definitely he's fine in the middle of the bat already, and that's ominous for Hampshire. He's played well this season.
What Hampshire need is 2 things. One, they need a mistake from the batsman, a ball in the air. Secondly, they need to make sure that any chances given are taken, and it's a question now of what Hampshire can do now. Is it going to be a change of bowling down here?
Yeah, Matt Coles has come in. The unmistakable shape and size of Matt Coles.
Matt Coles. He looks a little bit overweight sometimes, but let's just call him strong. Comes in right arm over, quite fast, short, it's cut straight to Carberry, and luckily for Hampshire that Carberry was at backward point and made a good stop. Bounced in front of him, took it waist high.
It seems to me, Ken, that every time I watch Michael Carberry playing for Hampshire, particularly in 2020, the ball just follows him around the place. He's just everywhere, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, he's a good fielder. In the 4-day game, he's been fielding at Slipple Gully as well just recently, as in again comes Coles over the wicket, and this one, it's a good ball, because the batsman didn't expect the lift, went to turn it to leg, hit him somewhere amidships, and it goes down. I have not seen the umpire's signal, but I imagine that was a leg by. 28 now. Klinger actually has gone up by 1 run, so perhaps that was off the bat.
It was, yeah.
So Coles, in he comes. Past the umpire, bowls to Klinger, who's moved outside his leg stump and then flicks it down. A premeditated shot to the man at third man. It looks like Danny breaks. In comes the throw, and they go through for another single. Scoring rate is dropping slightly, but they've still got a healthy 29 in less than 4 overs.
And of course, what Hampshire have got to realise as well is that it's going to inevitably slow in a couple of overs' time when the end of the batting power play finishes. So all is not lost just because Gloucestershire have had a really good start here.
What Gloucestershire have done have found the gaps, of which there are plenty, when the power play is in force, because too many bats, too many fielders have to be closer to the wickets than Hampshire would like. Anyhow, Coles moves away from us, comes in past the umpire, bowls to Klinger, hits that into the ground, goes down to mid-off, and I don't think Klinger wanted it to go just there, but straight to the fielder at mid-off. It's probably Vince, I think, down there, and there's no run.
He's an attacking captain, James Vince, isn't he? I mean, I know 2020 you've got to be attacking anyway, but he certainly seems to put pressure on the batsman.
It's a new thing for him. This is hit in the air. It's a good shot, actually. Is it going to clear the boundary? It does. That's a 6. And it was so easy by Klinger there. He was waiting for that ball. Well pitched up to him. Just led forward and flicked it in the air. The boundaries in this match are probably in a bit behind the wickets. They certainly are, and also looking across on the far side, they're in from the normal size for a 4-day match.
Yeah, I think that there's definitely a shorter boundary on the leg side, isn't there? I think
it is, yeah, we're well over on our side, aren't we? Forward defensive, because that slower delivery was spotted from Coles, but another good over from Gloucester. 35 for no wicket now after 4 overs.
4 overs, yeah. Yeah, so I mean, like we were talking about a couple of seconds ago about how the batting power play is going to come to a close in 2 overs' time, and that'll obviously provide Hampshire with a bit of an opportunity, but actually are becoming really necessary now in order to try and slow this down. Hampshire as well had an excellent start and were going at well over sort of 9, nearly up at 10 and over at the halfway point. But yeah, certainly they were 2 wickets down, and they need to try and get a couple of wickets here. It will be interesting to see how long they wait for Danny Briggs and bring him in.
Well, exactly. They don't want to bowl Abbott out, that's for sure. This is a fast ball. It's driven. Oh, what a lovely shot! What a lovely shot off the back foot by Gidman, who just drove that past short extra cover down to the far boundary. And well, that's possibly the shot of the day so far in terms of cricket shots.
Absolutely.
And Kyle Abbott is not used to being hit like that. He's a young bowler who's recently got back into the South African Test squad. Sadly, it means Hampshire will be missing him for a month or so later in the season as he comes in again. And this one, it's a good slower delivery, which beats the batsman in the air. This is the modus operandi these days in short form of the game. The bowlers have to be able to vary their pace whilst disguising it very well. And Gidman certainly didn't read that. And it looked from here to be such an easy ball, but the batsman was just totally fooled by it.
Yeah, particularly after the quick delivery that he just hit through the covers.
I mean, the difficulty from the bowler's point of view is to manage to do that in disguise. Anyway, in comes Abbott again and bowls to... and that's outside the off stump. Gidman flashed at that. He made room by moving back outside leg. Taken by the keeper, but still no chances given. And in fact, no near misses even. I'm thinking in terms of what's been going on in the field. The Gloucester batsmen are looking very confident. The pigeons are coming home.
They're definitely roosting above us, aren't they?
They're roosting
Definitely
right above
there.
our head. Now the question is, are they going to watch the cricket? Or are they in for sleepies?
Well, of course, anybody who's ever been to the Oval and watched either England or Surrey play there,
they would know which to do. This is a good shot again by the batsman.
Lovely shot off his head.
There was a man down there at short fine leg, but once it's past him, it's down there to the boundary. And they're getting boundaries every over. And it's no good Hampshire keeping the singles out if they can get boundaries like that. And I think Hampshire haven't managed to keep a consistent line at either end with their angular bowling, and runs are being scored on both sides of the wicket. So it's Gidman then, facing again as in comes Abbott past the umpire, bowls to Gidman, goes back and is comfortable with that but can't get a run, plays it out to backward point, and there's no run.
And of course, Kyle Abbott's had some time out, hasn't he, recently, Ken? I think he took a match off and had some rest and recuperation.
I think he had a 4-day and a 1-day match, I believe.
And it appeared to have done him quite well this last game against Essex.
He interviewed well before the Essex match and said how much more relaxed he felt and fresh, and he showed it in the match. I think 5 for 44 in the first innings. It was quite a feat. This one wraps him on the pad, it's outside the leg stump as he went to pull that. And that could have been an LBW appeal, but I'm not sure the Hampshire fielders have the mental strength at the moment or the physical breath to go in for appeal. 31 now then to Gidman, it's 10 to Klinger, and 43 for no wicket after 5 overs, Simon.
Yeah, absolutely, and you are right. I mean, the run rate has dropped slightly, and that's a positive for Hampshire. But it is, like you said, they're still scoring, a boundary at least in each over, and it's still very much Gidman leading the way.
Yeah, and looking very comfortable. Batting to come, they've got Ian Cockbain down at number 3, Hamish Marshall, who's always in for runs, of course, the New Zealander. Ben Howell, interestingly a former Hampshire player, who's now turned into an all-rounder at Gloucestershire. He used to bat only for Hampshire. And
he bowled a little bit, but he was certainly better as a batsman.
Absolutely. So we're talking about when Briggs going to come on. He's on, and his first ball was played out without a run being scored to cover. Noticeable change in the field, no third man, no fine leg. Long off rather, no long on, deep mid on. There's a man on the mid-wicket boundary now, as in comes left-arm spin around the wicket, and that's a good ball, slightly faster. And,
Spinner's Yorker, wasn't it? That
absolutely,
one, just on his toes.
Very good ball, and Klinger didn't quite read that, but he got a single, and it takes the score up to 11, or was it leg by? The score hasn't gone up against Klinger's name, I think. Oh, the pigeons are disturbed. Something's been up there. or have they seen something that looks interesting away over the West End?
Of course, the thing is with this Google Hangout that we're doing, of course, we can't even pretend like we haven't noticed them because everybody can see our eyes moving back and forth.
Absolutely. In comes Briggs again. This slaps him on the pad. There's a load appeal for LBW. It's not out, but
big appeal.
Almost as important, there's no run. And Briggs already looks as if he's putting a brake on this scoring. And we're looking at the replay now, but at a distance, and one can't form a decision from here. As a Hampshire supporter, we probably would have given it out from square leg as Briggs comes in. A faster ball, shorter. This is driven down on the leg side. The man coming round from mid-wicket is going to field. A good throw from Maxwell. Nearly caught Gibbs Briggs by surprise, and in fact the good throw was so good or so fast that Briggs couldn't take it cleanly. They went through for a second run, and amid all the excitement, Gloucestershire came out of that the better. And Maxwell be quite disappointed that his throw wasn't straight to Briggs, and the bowler wouldn't expect to take a throw quite that hard. Anyway, he comes in again. Pop tosses that one up. That's driven straight down to mid-on. It's Coles, they go through for a single, and it's 46 for no wicket, 47 now. Wondering whether we might share the commentary round a little bit. Simon, I don't know whether you want to have a go, but I've got Martin Pritchard behind me that might come in here in a moment if he's not engaged on our other wavelength. This is driven down to mid-off, perhaps at the end of this over, if Martin, whom I can't quite see at the moment, but he's somewhere behind me, I think.
He's not behind us. I mean, we should be able to see because we can see the whole thing in the
Where's he
screen
gone?
ahead of us.
Is Martin Pritchard going to take over, or has he disappeared? He's gone.
So
Help!
left up to us, Ken.
Simon,
The
do you want to
good
do an over or two?
Yeah, let's do an over or two.
Right, good, please.
So the end of Danny Briggs is over, of course, and there was 5 off that one, I think. It was 43, 4 off that one. Thank you very much. No, there was 5. I'm being told there was 5 now. So, yes, 5 off that over for Danny Briggs and his first one into the attack. An interesting time for Danny Briggs, of course, because, with England not having an out-and-out spinner that they're relying on full time, there's opportunities. Probably, almost definitely not in the Test side anytime soon for Danny Briggs, but he is obviously a fixture in the limited over sides for England, or has been at times during the last couple of years. And if he can prove his worth in the limited overs cricket, then I don't think there's any issue with him trying to become a leading spinner for England. Chris Wood is returned from the northern end of the ground, so he's coming in with his left arm seam bowling, and that's played off into the leg side by Klinger, who picks up 2 runs. Michael Carberry fielding out there at square leg. So so like I say, and that's the 50 up, I should say as well. 50 up for Gloucestershire. Gidman on 34, Klinger on 13. In comes Wood again, and this one's fuller length delivery that's just pushed out into the offside by Gidman, and they pick up one by Klinger, and they pick up 1 run. 51 without loss in the 7th over. So we are now out of the power play. That over from Danny Briggs was the last of the power play, and obviously going at around about 8 or so in over. Wheater just standing up to the stumps here. He's going to stand up to Chris Wood, and this is an interesting one. Of course, Chris Wood not lightning pace, but pretty quick. And of course, I know it's always been one of the things that's been highly regarded in Michael Bates, the other young Hampshire wicketkeeper, his ability to stand up to the seamers. Now Adam Wheater's going to do the same thing, so he's putting a bit of pressure on the batsman here, trying to induce a mistake or two. Gidman on 34 plays that relaxed off into the leg side. Moves on to 35. Some decent fielding out in the deep leg side there from, I think is it Sean Irvin out there? I can't quite tell from where I am at the moment. Irvin and Carberry patrolling their boundary out there. Anyway, back Chris Wood, now bowling to Klinger, who's on 14, comes round the wicket this time, and this is played off into the offside. There's going to be no run there. That's fielded by Vince, who's got himself on the mid-off position. I did want to pick up on James Vince actually, because I think James Vince is, I mentioned earlier that he's a very attacking captain. I think when he was given the role, I think we all felt as Wood comes in again now and bowls to Klinger, who again plays a similar shot, identical shot actually, out to Vince. When James Vince came in as captain in the 2020 and as vice captain in the other formats, I think there was all of us felt, well, he's a young man, it's a bit of a risk, he's not he's not played an awful lot as captain for Hampshire. It was a risk, but I think he's done superbly well this season, and as Chris Wood runs in again, and this is played out onto the leg side, just a bit backwards of square leg to Kyle Abbott, I think it is out there. Or is it? No, it's Matt Coles actually. It's Matt Coles who's out there. Clearly it's an interesting one because, of course, James Vince has scored runs this season in all formats of the game. I think he scored 220 before tonight and added a few tonight as well. And obviously the first one to have made 1,000 championship runs as well, James Vince. So clearly the captaincy isn't weighing too heavy on him, Ken.
Exactly so, Simon. And you've got to stand here as our technical expert, of course, and you don't get a chance for a break holding that. But if it's okay by you, I'm going to use the other guys just to do a little bit of commentary here and take over for the moment before he jumps on to HBA in a moment. It's introducing Martin Pritchard.
Thanks, Ken. So good over that by Hampshire, just by Chris Wood. Just held it back, just 5 runs off that over, so 54 the score. And Danny Briggs bowls a full toss that went through Adam Wheater, and that will go down as 4 byes. So that the batsman will feel he missed out there, but he's got 4 for it anyway. So wicketkeeper might be a little disappointed. It was a full toss, so 4 runs at the end of that, probably just about right. So the score goes on from 54 to 58. So decent start this by Gloucester. Briggs comes in again to bowl, and nicely into the block hole there, and that's played out on the leg side to the man coming in from mid-on rather, and that's Matt Coles. Matt Coles, who's bowled a good over a couple of overs ago. Bowled a few quicker deliveries. It's a spin of Briggs at the moment. Briggs bowls it and fields nicely off his own bowl in there by Danny Briggs. Certainly Danny Briggs got the most wickets in this competition so far for Hampshire, and this one is again a very full delivery, full toss, and Glenn Maxwell on the leg side boundary feels that, so that could have been worse for Hampshire. Just 1 run off that. So good start by these two. As Briggs comes in, and again another full toss, and again I think he'll just about get away with this. Nicely fielded by Matt Coles down here on the boundary. So again, could have been a disastrous over with 3 full tosses there, but just about par. 8 runs scored there by Gloucester, so they've moved on after 8 overs to 61. Not much in it. At the same stage, Hampshire were 66, but they had lost 2 wickets. So at this moment in time, you'd say that Gloucester are maybe slight favourites, although they've got to keep this up for another 12 overs. Now then, Hampshire changing the bowling, and there's a change of bats here, and Kidman gets a replacement bat, and the replacement bowler at the northern end is Will Smith. So Will Smith bowled 1 loose delivery in this first over that was hit for 6. But that apart, he's had a good start to his time in Hampshire in this competition with both bat and ball. And this one is short of a length, and he's picked out Michael Carberry. Well, that wasn't the greatest of deliveries by Will Smith. That was short of a length, and it was nicely picked up, to be fair, by Alex Kidman. But he's picked out one of the best fielders Michael Carberry down his throat there on the mid-wicket boundary. So that could change the game. So first wicket down for Gloucester. It's 61 runs on the board, and 37 was the score that Alex Kidman, the former captain, and good all-rounder, mostly a batsman these days. And so 61, just watching the replay as Kidman scratches his head, looks very confused, very disappointed by his dismissal. But that's what 2020 cricket's all about. You get edged for 4 off good deliveries and you get wickets off poor ones. And this next one by Will Smith played out nicely on the leg side. Carberry, the hero of the last delivery, fields nicely. And new batsman coming in is Ian Cobain, one of the many father and son combinations. His dad played some years ago for Lancashire. Ian Cobain here played for Lancashire, has made his way to Gloucester, and this next delivery, and he's, well, 1 wicket brings 2, and both openers have now gone. Michael Klinger, again, it was not the greatest of delivery by Will Smith, but Klinger has I'm just watching the replay, has swatted that on the offside straight into the man fielding at cover, and James Vince, who's got a good pair of hands, picks it up, and what a difference an over makes. All of a sudden, I'm talking the Gloucestershire batsman out at the start of the over, 61 without loss, and before you know it, Will Smith, who's bowled a slightly loose first over, they bring him back on, just a hunch that spin is the way forward. It certainly was for Gloucester in their innings, and a good call by James Vince, and he backs up his own faith in his bowler by taking a really good and smart catch on the offside. So it's all changed then here, and Smith 2 wickets in this over, and Smith comes in again and bowls, and the new batsman, hard to keep up with the change at the moment, and Klinger then was out for 17, caught by Vince off Will Smith, and Smith comes in again, doesn't take long between each delivery, and it's cut away on the offside, nicely fielded there. Jimmy Adams out there on the boundary, and that followed the dismissal of Alex Kidman, who was out for 37, caught by Michael Carberry off Smith, as Smith comes in to complete his over. And again, it's on the leg side, and a very warm round of applause by this very healthy Ageas Bowl crowd. And at the end of that over, it started at 61 for no wicket, and suddenly this game is changing. You'd say at this point that Hampshire would now be the favourites, because it's now 65 for 2, and you've got 2 relatively new batsmen in. So James Marshall on 2, Ian Cobain on 2.
You've got to go and commentate on that. So if you hand over to me.
Okay. So next over is to be bowled by Matt Coles. Regular changing of bowling by Hampshire, as seems to be the tactics in this form of cricket, as Coles comes in, and that one's on the leg side. That's nicely played by Marshall. That's a good field in there on the boundary by Will Smith. His foot did hit the boundary, but he'd released the ball. So Will Smith is very busy for Hampshire, both in the field with the bat and in the last over with the ball. So 2 runs there to Hamish Marshall. Hamish Marshall, former New Zealand Test cricketer, very experienced cricketer, many years down in the West Country at Gloucester, facing Matt Coles, and this one is a short delivery, and Marshall is back and plays that round the corner for a single, and the score moves on to 68. So no time in this cricket to rebuild innings, but with two newish batsmen, we will have to give a little bit of time to just get things back again. As Coles then comes in from the pavilion end and bowls short of a length, and again nicely back on his stumps there by Cobain. Hooks it to the man fielding on the mid-wicket boundary. There's a single. So change in the field as the man from long off comes in, and there's an extra man going out on the mid-wicket boundary, so we might expect another short delivery. Let's see as Coles bowls, and it's a slower delivery on the off stump, and the man who had come in was there expecting a single. So 1 run off Coles' delivery. So we're up to 70 now, 180 the target.
Coles bowls a real
so Matt Coles then, very competitive character, comes in then from the pavilion end, bowls in short of a length, and nicely played there, down on the offside, chopped away to third man, and that's a single, and one delivery I think left on this over. So near the end of we're almost coming up to the halfway stage, so they're a little short of half the score at the moment, Gloucester. So Hampshire will be quite happy as Coles comes in to complete this over, and that's cut down into the ground, chopped into the ground by Marshall, and Adam Wheater then fields that. So at the end of the 10th over, halfway through this innings, the score is 71 for 2.
Thank you, Martin, who now has to move into the adjoining commentary area, and we're continuing here on the other side, and I'm joined now by young Morgan, who's next to me, and Morgan today is doing the scoring, and he's having to keep up to date with this, and it's rather difficult. There's a single there as it goes down on the leg side, but it's good to have you with us again. Morgan, you were here with us last year, weren't you?
Yeah.
You enjoying it here?
Yeah, I really like it here in the commentary box.
And you're doing the scoring?
Yeah.
That's brilliant. And you've got Grandad here.
Yeah.
So we're going to see the next ball coming in now, and it's outside the off stump, and Marshall goes back and cuts that one away on the offside, and it's just a single. And in comes Smith again past the umpire. This is pulled on the leg side, and it goes down towards the boundary where Carberry fields. And in the box, Mr. Donohoe, in the box we've got your grandfather, Morgan. I was going to ask if he'd come and sit next to you, and the pair of you could talk together as we're doing this commentary. That's now played out for another single, and it goes up to 74 for 2. Next to Morgan is our scorer, Roy Martin there. You can see we've got two scorers. We cover well here, and Simon Donohoe has come into the box now. So this is driven away on the offside. May we introduce the colourful Simon Donohoe to the commentary that we're doing here. And Simon's going to sit down next to his young grandson. I don't know who can out-talk each other there, Simon, but Morgan's got to concentrate on his scoring as well. But good evening to you, and please get some wickets for Hampshire.
Many thanks, Ken. Evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. The crunch is, who's the best looking? Who's got the most wrinkles? What I want to know. Yeah, okay. I'm saying no more. 76 for 2. 76 for 2. Hampshire. sorry, Gloucester. This television is catching me, isn't it? Obviously throwing me. I'm obviously the man for radio. So Hamish Marshall not out 8, Coburn not out 7, 76 for 2 with the end of the 11th over. So we're into the 12th over, so 9 overs to go. The lights now in full effect here at the Ageas Bowl, and it is a gorgeous ground. When the opportunity, if the opportunity comes for you to ever visit the Ageas Bowl, do take it up. So it's Matt Coles to continue from the pavilion end, comes in past umpire Martin. Oh, he's taken the stumps out of the ground. Oh wow! Now that is a delight to all fast bowlers. They really get there can be nothing like seeing a stump cartwheel out of the ground. So this, in the last 3 overs, this has really changed the situation in this game. 2 quick wickets where you had the 2 opening bats from Gloucestershire who were doing so well, and now all of a sudden they're 3 wickets down. 76 for 3, Coburn gone. Hampshire, I think at this stage were in the probably had moved into 3 figures. My grandson Morgan is going, yes, let's have some diction here, he said. Gramps?
It was 112.
112. My grandson tells me it was 112. Does your mum and dad know you're out this late on a Friday night? Have you got any homework to do?
Yes.
Oh, you've got homework? Oh, my word, I'm going to get into trouble. Oh, he's doing it on Sunday. Roy Martin, who is our man for all season, the statistician of all time, is muttering in the background. He's going to do it on Sunday. So he's going to get us into trouble as well. Who we got in? We've got a left-hander. Who's the... come on, young Morgan. Who's this batsman facing then, this left-hander? Oh. This is Dent. Chris Dent. Thank you, young man. And that ball from Matt Coles got some extra bounce through to keeper Wheater. That really did take off. So 76 for 3. This has been set up this evening by this system by a couple of intelligent, knowledgeable, dare I say IT geeks? Probably not. But Matt Coles comes in again, bowls. Oh, that's goes for a bouncer, but it's patted down a la tennis shot down to third man by Chris Dent. They only get a single. 77 for 3. That's Dent's first run. Hamish Marshall, the New Zealander, not out 8, and we'll get into the 12th over, so 8 overs after this, and still something like 100 required. So the runs per over moving dramatically in Hampshire's flavour, and that was a la. I've talked about, and he's been mentioned, my grandson. That was one of his swishes over mid-on. And inevitably, like my grandson Hamish Marshall, failed to make contact. Now, you see how you're not to play that, Morgan?
Yeah, but he beat him for pace.
Beat him for pace. You get the rubbish these 10-year-olds tell you. Matt Coles in, right arm over again, short of a length. Oh, I thought that was going to be cut through the person at square cover. Well fielded there. Well, and a great throw. Not sure who that was. May well have been Kyle Abbott down there or Danny Briggs, but a great throw over the stumps to Wheater. So 79 for 3. The lights in full impact here now at the Ageas Bowl. The hotel still being worked on, but not at night. A long way to go yet, but be interested to see what happens there for the Indian game a few weeks away. Oh, much slower ball. He's bowled him! Oh my goodness gracious me! That was reminiscent of I'm trying to think, was it Steve Harmison so many years ago, and got Michael Clarke with the last ball or the last but one ball of an innings game against Australia and changed the course of a test match? Well, Matt Coles, that was so well disguised, and Hamish Marshall had played almost 2 shots before the ball got to him and took his stumps. My word, what a cracking piece of bowling from Matt Coles there.
This is a bit like Smith's over where he gets 2 overs, he gets 2 wickets, and so does Coles.
Ah, good one. You're getting to know too much, you are. Roy, could you take him in control here? I mean, he's does he think this being on YouTube, he's going to be shot all over the world? Yes, he does. He probably does. He's got more know-how than his gramps. Mr. Maxted referring to me as a granddad. I only refer to me as a granddad when I'm being bullied. We won't say by who. Oh, here we got Will Smith back. Will Smith back bowling to Chris Dent. That was wide outside the off-stamp, and indeed signalled wide by Rob Bailey. The score at 80 for 4, and this is just quietly slipping away from Gloucester as 2 purple balloons settle on the pitch, nearly take a wicket. Oh no, they don't. It's gone through for a single, and the balloons have missed the stumps. So we're lucky on that occasion, and they drift away. Not the pigeon that was troubling the fielders and the spectators at Headingley today. It's Will Smith who's bowling to the right-handed. Not Dent. And the new batsman of the wicket, of course, is well known to Hampshire supporters, Benny Howell, who moved to Gloucester 2 or 3 years ago. Will Smith, that ball is short of a length. Has it bowled it? No, I did. Wheater took the bails off, and that was Stent going for a pull to mid-wicket, failed to make contact, but it was through to Wheater, who showed his excellence and took that off. Oh, there's a big appeal, and he's hit, and he's given it. Will Smith has got another wicket. LBW, it's all happening here now at the Ageas Bowl. Will Smith got 3 wickets. Is it the 5th wicket's fallen at 82 for 5? We're in the 13th over. So where we were at 9 and 10 and over, we're now, if I can do the arithmetic quickly, we're at about 6 would be 78, so just over 6 and over. My grandson would probably have an abacus out. I've only can cope. No, I'm the abacus. He's the what do they call those things? Calculator. He's got a calculator. No, he hasn't.
Was that bold?
That was that was LBW. LBW. What does LBW stand for, young man?
Leg before wicket.
Thank you very much. Leg before wicket. LBW. So the excitement here, and the crowd, and the camera taking pictures of the crowd. If only they could see these played back. And there's been a few in the Mexicans in the crowd. Here we go, Will Smith. Oh, that's hooked off the middle and off stump. And I'm just asking, as somebody who watched England play last night, am I right in thinking that Costa Rica beat Italy? No, nobody's nodding or agreeing. I heard they were up at one stage. So anyway, there we go. We're at the Ageas Bowl for Hampshire versus Gloucester, T20 blast. Will Smith, it's beat Will Smith, gone through the bowler and down to deep log on. Log on. He's okay. See, you can't say a word and they tell you off these days. I mean, it is so embarrassing. I'm not saying it, just correcting me. There we go. What was that? Will Smith. So 3 for what was Will Smith's analysis, Roy? Will Smith took 3-4, and I'm waiting for the man Roy Martin to give me the 3-4 figure. But that was a good spell from Will Smith, made a significant impact in the game. 84 for 5, and it's Danny Briggs to continue from the pavilion end. Squad number 19. He'll come in past number Martin Saggers. So here we go. This is possibly Danny Briggs' Lato. Slightly slower, ball of full length, punched out onto the offside to Michael Carberry. Thank you, Morgan. He keeps interrupting me, doesn't he? I mean, is he too quick? You won't be too quick to get a dum when I get hold of you later, young man. Anyway, got to be careful. Don't want to be accused of abusing you. till I get you home, that is. Danny Briggs comes in, another ball of full length Morgan as opposed to a Yorker, punched out onto the offside where that superb fielder Michael Carberry picks up, whips into Alan Wheater behind the stumps. So we've got Martin Saggers there as Danny Briggs comes in past him. That's up. This may well be caught. Or is it going to be 6? It's going to be 6. Gone for 6. Jimmy Adams was coming round and under it, but it was well on its way. 10.
Is it the dance troupe?
The dance troupe could have taken a catch there. The dance troupe being the Ageas Angels. But here we go. Danny Briggs in again. Could this be another flourish that changes a game? So scores moved up to 93. Jimmy Adams moved in swiftly from mid-on. So 10 and 2 are the scores of the batsmen, and that ball is punched out to the offside by Briggs and no run. So a dot ball. So we're okay for time. I think we have to bowl the last over by about 10 to 10. That ball is punched out to the onside. Adams comes in very swiftly, returns the ball to Adams. End of the returns the ball to Briggs, I should say. End of the over. Has it moved on to 95? No, 94. 94 for 5. We'll just turn to Roy. 2 batsmen, Roy, remind me, 10 not out and 3 not out are? Who's 10 not out? I can't. Howell, of course, it's Benny Howell who's the 10 not out. Number 13, and who's the squad number 29? Taylor, Jack Taylor, of course, the bowler. So we've got Benny Howell not out 10, Jack Taylor not out 3, 94 for 5. Need me binoculars there for this, and I think is it Matt Coles who's come on from the northern end, and it's another 6. There you go. Punched away, smacked, as my grandson says, smacked for 6. But it could still all change here. Could still all change. Taylor moves on to 9. Benny Howell not out 10. These two came together at 82. 82, so they're put on 18. As Morgan says, they're going well. So it's still Matt Coles, who's going to come in from the northern end, referred to as the northern end, maybe in time with the hotel end. Also been called in its time the Hambledon end, as in the birthplace of cricket eons ago. As Coles comes in, right arm over, but slower ball, and that's cutaways given no ball by Rob Bailey for height. Yep, picked up there by a number of people in the score box all at the same time, or in the commentary box. Matt Cole's been warned. So 103. Here we go. As Coles turns, comes in, approaches the stumps, and bowls ball of full length, and that's patted back down the wicket. And a little bit of jocularity there as Coles hangs on to the batsman Taylor, trying to stop him getting back into the wicket. But all good humour, nice to see. There isn't enough humour. You better not be marking my new shirt, you'll be in a lot of trouble, young man. Matt Coles in, right arm, short of a length, hammered, punched out onto the offside, will be fielded out there by Adams on the boundary. A cracking piece of fielding, a superb piece of fielding. Adams, the club skipper, moved swiftly to his right, had to turn because he's left-handed. 103 for 5. James Vince, 105 for 5. Thank you very much. The eyesight's failing as well as everything else. Thank you very much. I don't know if they'll be any good for me. A new friend, colleague here in the box, handing me his glasses. and that's a slower ball. That could well be 2 runs here. And Coles is chasing it out. Oh no! Oh, there is a disastrous run out there. Absolute disastrous. It never ceases to amaze me at what level cricket you are. You get run-outs from schoolboy cricket all the way through to international cricket. There was a 2 on if they'd gone straight away because Coles had to run 20-25 yards to his right, but I'm not sure who it was turned back. Was it Taylor who was turned back? Yeah, it was Taylor who was turned back by Howell, and he couldn't stop. He was in the middle of the wicket and was, well, he gave it up. There was no way he could get back as the ball came into Wheater and the bails were taken off. So we moved to 106 for 6, and all of a sudden this game, when I say all of a sudden, we had those flurry of wickets. Then we had a good partnership of some 20 odd, something like that, 22. The young man says to me, and who we got come in then? We've got Taylor, no, was it? Jack Taylor. Oh, Jack Taylor. So it wasn't Taylor who was out then? Who was out? It couldn't have been. So I was thinking it was Taylor who was just out. Who was just out, Roy? Because Taylor's just come in. So I'm trying to work out who was the last wicket to fall. Anybody telling me who was the last wicket to fall? Silence. Silence. I've got 2 scorers on my right, would you believe it, and not one of them. Excuse me, scorers, who was the last batsman out? It wasn't Taylor, because Taylor's just come to the wicket. You two are not getting any marks this evening. You're going to have no supper. Herring, as in fishy herring. That ball is punched out on the offside. The wicketkeeper. Right. It was Herring was out, was it? Are we about to switch? Am I going to hand over to Simon Vincent? No.
Simon, you carry on, mate. I'm just going to see if I can experiment with trying to get a scorecard up for you guys to come up on the screen.
You see,
you guys carry on.
We've got these geeks in here, and this man was the media manager for Hampshire, and obviously got a better opportunity. That's all I can say.
No such thing as a better opportunity for me, mate.
Simon Vincent, who was a great friend of ours in hospital radio, is. He's got something else come up on the screen now.
You're still on. My word.
No worry. Briggs to bowl. This must be Briggs' last over. So the score is 107 for 6. As Danny Briggs bowls to Benny Howell. That is driven out on the offside. This could well be a 2. No, they're settling for 1. And that ball is whipped in by Chris Wood. That's deep long off. 1 run, 108 for 5, with Benny Howell moving to 14, and Taylor is still. It's actually Briggs to. Oh, it's going to be. This is going to be caught at deep long on. No, it's not. It's way over Jimmy Adams' head from Briggs, and that's Howell goes up to 20, and that went all the way. You put me off, young man.
No, Briggs has been bowling lots of
Don't you think it's a worry when you go? And here it goes again. Is it over the top, or is this going to be? Yes, it's another 6. 2 more 6. 2 sixes. So Danny Briggs there is gone. That changes the game again. 120 for 6. 120 for 6. Howell 25. My grandson is telling him what he should be bowling. 10 years of age, and you just know it all, don't you? Would you please be quiet?
But he should be bowling Yorkers.
But you please be quiet. Oh, I'm going to have to give him a red card. That's hit into the long on area, and Jimmy Adams picks it up, whips it in back to Briggs. An expensive over from Briggs here.
13
Gloucester players.
3 balls.
13 in 3 balls. Simon continues to work on the. Oh, he's bowled him. Oh no, not. It's LBW. LBW's given him. He's given him. I thought for a second he'd bowled him, but he didn't. But there we go. So that was, who was that? That was Taylor to go, I think, for 2. But still leaving.
Howell on 26.
Howell on 26, not out. And then there's a scorecard come up for me. Oh, well done, Simon Vince. Simon Vince Unt. So Danny Briggs picks up. How many wickets has Danny Briggs picked up so far?
It's his first wicket.
It's his first wicket. Told by no, it's not. Roy Martin is saying it's not his first wicket.
No, tonight.
Oh, first wicket tonight. Good one. 121 for 7. 121 for 7. So that was Taylor who was out. John Young was in the score in the commentary box with me asking who was out there. That was Jack Taylor. I was going to say for the second time tonight, but the scorers haven't told me what the 6th wicket was yet. But it's Danny Briggs bowl.
This is driven again wide of Jimmy Evans.
They'll get 2.
That's 2 runs. Yeah, comfortably.
I think it would have been a lot closer if that was
Just receiving a nod there, or a nod in my back, that is, or a tickle in my back. So 123 for 7. Howell not out 26. And the new batsman is?
I think it's
Smith. Tom Smith in 123 for 7, and it's Tom Smith the face. And I think we're going to have Chris Wood. I'm not sure, but I think it's Chris Wood who's going to bowl from the northern end. Chris Wood, number 25, who's going to bowl left arm over from the northern end. Chris Wood, who's very much a T20 player. Simon continues to work at the screen here, and this is seriously an evening with the voice of Test cricket. Oh, Henry Blofeld. He's got even more wrinkles than me, Simon.
Just to let you know, Simon, you guys are not now on the screen. Your faces are not on the screen, but people can still hear you as Chris Wood comes in the bowl, and that's just fended off into the leg side. And goat runs down to the boundary. It's just going to be picked up by Matt Coles, or Kyle Abbott it is.
Kyle Abbott, yep.
So yes, so you guys aren't being shown on the screen. What you can see now on your screen at home, people who are watching, is the scorecard, which is live on the ageasbowl.com website. That's Hampshire Cricket's own home website. And Simon, just so you know, Simon, if you want to scroll up and down, the people at home can see what you're scrolling up and down to. So you can see that obviously on the screen at the moment, Gloucester need 58 runs. That's gone right up in the air, and that's gone out for a massive 6. Actually, it's a big boundary out there on the leg side. And
that's a long way.
6 from Benny Howell, 34 not out, 131 for 7 for Gloucestershire. So yes, so the people at home can see whatever you're seeing, Simon, and as you guide yourself around, they can see on the screen now that Gloucester need 58 runs to win from 4 overs. And if we scroll down, we can actually see live what's going on in there. We can see the bowling figures and batsmen as well. So
brilliant.
Whatever you need to find out, Simon, you guide people around, and they'll be able to see it there with you.
I think you picked the wrong technician here, Simon. From Simon to Simon, that is on. That is punched out. That's going to be 6, is it, or 1 bounce 4? 1 bounce 4. So we're 135 for 7. 135 for 7. We're in the 17th over.
How is turning this game over?
Do you mean over or around?
Around.
Oh, there we go. So think about what you're saying before you open your mouth now. Get that brain in gear. Because I'm checking on you. You're still doing the score in there, are you?
Yeah.
Good, well done. 135 for 7. And that is just dropped down in front of Howell there, taking him to 39. Was it a leg bye or was it a run? No, I think it's run. 30. I'm saying 35. It's actually taken him to 39. That 5 was an 8. So 38 to 39. Smith on 2. Smith and Howell having a conversation in the middle of the park. We're in the 17th over. I think we've had, is it 2 or 3 balls? 3 balls gone of this over, Roy? Say 3. So 136 for 7.
Here comes Wood again.
Wood in again from the northern end. Left arm round. And that ball is, just over the short mid-wicket. Just over the short. That was nearly into Glenn Maxwell's hands, but picked up by Michael Carberry out in the deep mid-wicket area. Still all to play for here. It could change, and of course you inevitably get crowd recognition when their pictures come up on the screen. They leap up. You're not on the screen at the moment.
Ben Howell's strike rate is
Oh, that's going to be out to the mid-on area. One bounce. One bounce to mid-on. That's 1 run to Smith, taking him up to, is it 5 or is it already moved? So 138. Oh no, it was. I hadn't gone up. So 139 for 7.
That's 14 and over now, exactly.
139 for 7. Howell, who will be enjoying this, coming back to the ground where he did well for Hampshire, was released I think 2, maybe 3 years ago. So it's 139 for 7, and
His total is 278.
so 139 for 7, Howell 39, and Smith not out 5. So the Hampshire sub, Brad Taylor's just sprinted across the ground, so somebody's left the field of play, not sure who that was, but it's going to be Kyle Abbott who's going to bowl the 18th over. So we've got need 180, 181 to win. So 139, 41, 42 to win off 3 overs. So give or take 15 runs off each over. So let's see what happens here as Abbott comes in. That is punched down to the offside. Carberry, only a single. Nice effortless throw in from Carberry, taking the score to 140. And Smith up to 6. Howell on 39, not out. So Abbott, who'd been a cracking signing, being kept out of the South African side by the likes of Morkel, Dale Steyn and Philander. So possibly the best opening attack in world cricket at the moment, and Kyle Abbott is knocking on that door as he comes in, right arm over, past umpire Martin Saggers, ball of full length, driven out and comfortably over extra cover for 4 runs. Well done Howell, 43. So it's not over yet, 144 for 7. How many balls in this over left, gentlemen?
4.
No, he must have bowled more than 2. Yeah, I think may have bowled 4. I don't think you're concentrating as well as you should be at this time of the evening. And the time is going to be significant. In terms of got to bowl it by 9:49, is it, Roy? 9:49 I make it now. Got to finish by 9:49. Abbott in, ball of full length. Dropped down to the onside. They're looking for a second run, but Maxwell in at speed. Maxwell, a T20 blast expert. Yeah, Simon's kindly doing something from here on the screen, because I, believe it or not, I didn't come with glasses to read the screens like this. But the graph in terms of the runs and where the runs need to go. Oh, we've got a semi-streaker, and I say a semi-streaker. He's got the sort of body you'd want to probably feed up, because he's hopped over the fence, being chased by a steward who's much slower. In fact, the steward is moving slower than I would. He's almost at a standstill. But there we go. Thank goodness this is not on television, because I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, this is not the sort of body you would need to see. He's now being hidden in the crowd. He's slithering under, and the cricket's underway again. Far more important. Kyle Abbott comes in, right arm over to Tom Smith. That is, this could be a run out. Oh no! I'm not sure if that is Vince, whoever that was, at one stump to aim at and missed, but covered off. It could have probably put the game to bed, but it didn't. But one more run to Tom Smith, taking him up to 7. You'll see on your screen how the charts are merging in terms of they call them worms, I think, Simon. So the worms, and you can see the red dots in terms of the wickets that have fallen as Kyle Abbott turns, comes in from the pavilion end. 146 for 7, ball of full length, driven out to long off. 1 run. into keeper Wheater at speed.
Yeah, so just to explain obviously what people can see on their screens, you've got the Hampshire worm and the Gloucester worm, and of course the red dots do indicate wickets. Of course, you can see from that graph there, it is obviously getting much closer. Hampshire, the top worm, of course, the completed worm that's seen off its 20 overs, and Gloucester's worm is considerably lower, has been for the majority of the match, actually since about the 6th over. But just climbing now, so it's going to be an exciting end.
It is, Simon, it is indeed. Oh, where's that gone? That's going to be 6. Way into the mid-wicket area. Picked up effortlessly by Tom Smith, takes him to 13 and the 153. So, what's that? 50, 27, 28 to win on 12 balls. 2 overs, 12 balls, 28 runs. 28 runs, and this is, I have to say that people have actually left the gourmet burger bar. Imagine that, they've left the gourmet burger bar to watch the cricket. Wow, is this the first time the burger bar has been moved by happenings on the cricket field? So who we got? We've got Chris Wood to bowl to Benny Howe. Could this be his moment of glory, Benny Howe? That is hit hard out to long on. This will only be 1 run. If they go back there, I don't know, wasn't the greatest of throws. That might well have produced 2 runs there. Anyway, 154 for 7.
154, I think that should read now. Howe on 47.
Yeah, I'm looking at, looks like a 4 and a 6 to me. But there we go. The score screen is 200 yards away from me, or 200 metres ish. There's a little adjustment to the field at wide mid on there. It's gone out as Wood in, the ball of full length, and this is short. They may well get 2. No, the long on comes in swiftly, picks up. So 2 runs, 155 for 7. Smith going to 14. Howe's not out, 46. Be a good 50 this for Benny Howe back here at the Ageas Bowl. As Chris Wood comes in, left arm round, bowling to Howe, and that could well be a 2 if they decide to go for it. In between the long on and the mid on, or wide mid on, 2 runs. So Howe goes to 48. 157, so I make that 24 required. 9:50 is now the time Hampshire have got to finish their overs. Well, they're going to do that, aren't they, comfortably. There's only the 1 over left after this. Chris Wood in, left arm round. Oh, it's a ball of full length, but well picked off his legs. Takes Howell on to 49. 49, so I think that's maybe 3, certainly 3 gone, maybe 4. So that would be, say, give it 8 balls left, 23 required. So it's not out, not over yet. Not over yet. Camera in the crowd following through. I don't know if it's following through to pick up spectators or pick out a winner of some competition, as Chris Wood comes into Tom Smith, who goes and flicks that back with a square. I don't think Michael Carberry picked that up. Good 2. 160 for 7. Smith up to 16. Went for what my grandson might call the Dilshan scoop. Didn't quite make it. And has still got his helmet and his teeth in, fortunately. So it's Chris Wood, 160 for 7. Howell on 49. Tom Smith on 16. Last wicket fell, says at 121, so they put on 39 this pair, which is a good partnership. So adjustments to the field by James Vince, who moves into square leg. Carberry goes to a long leg, wide fine leg. Chris Wood in, ball of full length, driven out on the offside, only a single. Hampshire settle for that, end of that over, I think. So I make that 20 to win of this final over. 20 to win off this final over. So it's got to be challenging, to say the least. 8 minutes. They've got plenty of time. They've got to start it, I think, by 9:50. I think that's what is required. if my memory's serving me correctly. It's as long as they are going to start. So who have we got? I think we've got Kyle Abbott's going to bowl the last over, and he's going to bowl to Tom Smith. Yeah, Kyle Abbott, 86 squad number. This looks like a Hampshire win, but you can never say no. Cricket is one of those games that can bite you in the bottom. Where's that gone? That's 4 runs out backward a square. So that's 16 required. This could be a good finish here. Good finish. And not many of the crowd have moved. Howell on 49, Smith on 21. What a great evening this has been in terms of introducing maybe families to cricket. The switch to having T20 Blast on a Friday evening has been a significant step in the right direction in terms of spreading the game of cricket. You don't have to be, not everybody likes T20, but in terms of bringing children and families together and in, got to be good news as Kyle Abbott comes in, ball of full length, hit out square. Is it going to go 4 more? It is 4 more, beats the square leg. So I make that 12 to go off 4 balls. 12 to go off 4 balls, so only this 3 and to get 2 sixes, and they're there. Wow, this is, as they say, and has been said more than once, this is going to the wire. I don't know where that comes from, going to the wire. Abbott turns, comes in, passed on by Martin Saggers, right arm over, ball of 4. Oh, and it's 4, it's gone fine leg. Has it gone for 4? It's gone for 4, fine leg. Oh my goodness gracious me. Is that 8 to win? Is that 8 to win? 173 have we moved to? 8 to win. How many balls left? 3 or 2? 3 or 2? 3 balls left, only 8 to win. Off 3. I thought they got. I thought they only got 180. Don't they wait 181? I make that 8.
It's 3. They're going to get
8 off 3. 8 off 3. I'll make it 8, John. So Abbott comes in, and that is gone to mid-wicket, and that's only a single. That's only a single, so now that's 7 off 2 balls. It's still on. 2 4s, a 6.
Howell has got to get 1 run to make it 50.
My grandson, who is irritating me in the background because he keeps interrupting, I'm never letting him come to the cricket again. He's too much of a nuisance. He is a statistician. I could be saying something else, but yeah, good future in maths. if he survives, if he gets through this evening. Right, we need 7 off 2 balls. Well, we don't. Gloucester needs 7 off 2 balls. What a match! This is 20 overs aside, and we've got 2 balls left out of the 40 overs. Now you can't get better entertainment than that, can you? So come again as a plane comes in from I don't know where in the world to Southampton Airport, away to our left. They can't be watching this up there, can they? Okay, well we've got two balls left, and Simon Vincent, who's helped us pull this programme together, well all I'm doing is talking. He's the man with the brains and the computer skills, together with another friend of ours in the background who's moved away. Oh, there we are. Hello. There's 2 Simons together and my grandson Morgan, you're better looking than me. You take over. Anyway, we've got 2 balls left. What do you think, Simon?
Well, I thought the money was all on us, 4 balls ago. But then, what an end to what a 4-ball streak here from Benny Howell. Of course, our old boy, and he's on 49. He needs one more to get his 50.
I think he's. In fairness, I'd like him to get the 50, but we'll settle for just 1 run, and then it's okay, isn't it?
Yeah, that'll be absolutely fine, mate.
Leaving Smith to get 6 off the last ball.
Yes. Of course, having worked here with Benny, he is a lovely lad, and I get on beautifully with him. But I hope he doesn't.
Here we go. Where's it gone? Oh, it's gone. It's only going to be 1. Hampshire long off. Are they coming back? They're coming back. Is he going to be out? He's going to be out! He's out! He's out.
Smart
Oh,
piece of from
he gets his 50, but he's run out on the second run, and that was a great throw. Who was that threw that in out there? I think that was Matt Coles who threw that in, and that was into Wheater. A diving, long-lasting dive there from Benny Howes and Simon.
What a great piece of fielding that was! Fantastic. Threw it back to the striker's end. They were running back for two. Wheater had to be quick because Benny Howes was diving, and he really went for it. And credit to Wheater. He's often, talked about as being a great batsman and not such a great wicketkeeper, but he did fantastically well there.
Took it well.
Benny, as he dived in, he thought, he knew he hadn't made his ground, and as he's on the floor, he threw his bat up in the air, and it turned several times. And fair play to him. He's out on 50, and he's done an incredible amount to get his team to within one ball of winning this. And of course, a 6 will still win it for Gloucester.
Indeed, I was going to make that point, Simon. That it's still on. They need a 6, 5 to tie. I don't know how you get the 5, 4 and a 1, but I don't know how you get that. But that would have gone up.
Going down or a wide going down to the boundary.
That would have gone upstairs, wouldn't it? On camera, we'd have had a replay and a replay and a replay. But Rob Bailey's up with the finger straight away. So here we go. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. It's Kyle Abbott in, right arm over. And it's going to be only 2 runs. 2 runs. Get it in. Is he going to be out? No. Oh, they're going to have a third. Let's have another misfield. It's all happening. Oh, no. It's all over. 3 runs. 178. So Hampshire win by 2 runs. They lost against Somerset by 1 run, but they've beaten Gloucester here by 2 runs. And what an evening's entertainment we've had. And I'm just going to give you Simon Vinstra for a few minutes to talk about this system and what's happened in terms of being able to do this, Simon, because I hope some people somewhere in the world have got some real benefit out of this. Well done, young man.
Thank you very much, Simon. Yeah, actually, just as a small point here, when the ball came in, when the final ball was bowled, the batsman clearly hit it, and we all knew that they weren't going to run 5 to draw it, or 6 obviously to win it. And actually, the board immediately went up with Hampshire win, even though there was the misfield after that, and there was a bit of confusion.
I did miss that.
But like I say, thankfully for the people in charge of the big screen, they did get it right. But yeah, no, fantastic result for Hampshire tonight, and they were ahead on the worm for the vast majority of that match. Gloucester got off to an absolute flyer to start off, and definitely won the opening batting power play, but from that point on, Danny Briggs bowled the 5th over, did fantastically well, really kind of dampened down the run rate. And from there, Hampshire really asserted their control, albeit it's going to look closer than perhaps it was because of that final over and perhaps a bit of heavy slugging from Benny Howell predominantly leading up to it. But good win for Hampshire tonight, and good actually to having had the disappointment of the match at Somerset last week and to lose by the 1 run. Good for them to actually go down to the wire here tonight and actually come out on top.
Absolutely, Simon. Real entertainment, and I can't overemphasise the word entertainment here, because that's what sport's about, and that's what the paying customers need. Simon, thank you so much for what you've given us, and I hope that people have enjoyed this. What would you call it? Broadcast,
yes,
podcast. I don't know, cast.
So a Google Plus Hangout is what we're doing. You can watch it live on Google Plus, and you can watch it on YouTube. Something we're experimenting a little bit with this season, and hopefully, if it pays off, we'll do a little bit more of it. And,
sounds good to me.
We'll obviously be in touch with the Hampshire website to see if we can get them to support us as well with getting it up.
Well, I'm sure the people out there would be saying yes, please to that, Simon. Yes, please. And mind you, we picked the match to do it with, haven't we? There was nothing boring about this. And my grandson, I'm not sure he's going to make it home. Right, what do we do now, Simon?
Right,
tell me.
Thank you very much for joining us. That'll be all of it.
Take care.
So, we'll
sleep well. God bless, wherever you are. Over and out.